From what I understood, basically it's a social media trend, and they're literally just targeting a different place every day. But maybe I don't know, they moved on to the next area at this point. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs that's what it's come to. Like, this is just a high street in London, and we can't even feel normal walking here, like, through daylight. So it's a bit disheartening. That's what the state of the city's come to.
Well, I can speak now to Nick Biskinis, the chair of Clapham Safer Neighbourhood Panel, who was keeping an eye on everything last night. Nick, tell me exactly what you saw.
Well, I saw hundreds of youths on Clapham Common, and there was already a strong police presence because of what happened on Saturday. And when the police attempted to disperse them, they ran into the high street. Now, I want to pay tribute to our officers because there was a strong police presence in the high street, and that prevented the youths from actually getting in. So it was over relatively quickly, but it was very, very frightening for customers, for shop managers, shop workers who were effectively kettled inside the store, wondering if they could get out, wondering if they were safe. So
you see, this is the difference between the diaspora and like African countries like Nigeria. This happens and it was quickly kind of resolved. The mayhem was actually severe, and they're kind of moving from one high street to another. But I'll tell you one thing, this will quickly be resolved in comparison to places like Nigeria, for example, where absolutely nothing is done, where people fight each other with no consequences.
Which is a sort of a microcosm of London. It's a very sort of big, wide, diverse community, has been left out in the cold. We would have expected the mayor and the commission to come down to show that they believe that London is safe and actually to reassure people. I mean, that's what leadership is about.
But Sadiq Khan has said many times when asked about crime in London that London is far safer than many other major cities. So surely that should make people here feel somewhat safe.
People want to be safe in their area. They want to be safe when they go shopping. They are not when they're seeing mobs running around thinking, well, London isn't quite as bad as Bogota. So that to me is the language of complacency.
Exactly.
If the mayor wants to articulate that, then he should do so at a public meeting in Clapham. We're having one on May the 11th. I'd normally invite him to come and
I will be there as a Labour
You also told me, Nick,
member,
you were speaking to some of the youngsters here last night. We understand they'd organised this demonstration, this gathering, on TikTok, on social media. Why do you think they had organised this? Was there any motive in play here? What were they telling you? And are you expecting to see further demonstrations, further gatherings in the coming few days?
When I spoke to some of the youngsters, and these were very young people, they didn't really have a clear reason. They were effectively following the crowd.
Exactly.
So they were swept.
That's the problem we have in most of these countries, following the crowd.
And they were quite shocked when some were arrested. And I also want to point out that there were assaults, so this wasn't a benign event. In terms of what happens afterwards, what happens in Clapham can happen anywhere. And as I say, we need to see a strong show of policing, we need to see more arrests. But above all, we need to see leadership from the top of the Met and from the Mayor's office, to show they're taking this seriously. A visit by the MP, a visit by the London Assembly member, a visit by the Mayor, a visit by the Commissioner would all actually go a long way to reassure people.
But, I mean, these have been described as Easter holiday link-ups. We're just at the very beginning of the Easter holiday. Is this a case of teens are simply bored and this is how they're letting out their energy? Is this a failure of there not being enough kind of youth clubs in the holidays?
Unless you can find clear evidence of somebody saying they looted a shop because they couldn't go to a youth club, that becomes an excuse.
Exactly.
Of course, you can do more with youth clubs. That'd be a very good thing. But it's more about people feeling that they have the ability to cause chaos without feeling consequences.
Yeah.
So that's actually the real
And
driver.
there's going to be a consequences. There's going to be one.
Widely has been allowed
this
to
is
embed.
UK, not
and you've seen
Nigeria.
that in some aspects of the weekend protests where people were climbing up flags and baying mobs were in Liverpool Street Station a few years ago, and that was unchallenged. So it creates the impression.
However, this is like Nigeria, it's the other way around.
You probably won't be
leadership rather than the youth.
Changes anyway is at risk of that kind of disturbance.
Okay, Nick, very interesting to talk to you on GB News from here in Clapham, where of course there are fears that more of these types of meetups could take place in the coming few days as the Easter holidays continue.
The Metropolitan Police says it is taking a zero-tolerance approach and expects further arrests as investigations continue. A dispersal order was issued, allowing officers to direct individuals to leave the area for up to 48 hours. Police say they are now reviewing CCTV and body-worn camera footage to identify those involved. Detective Chief Superintendent Emma Bond, who is leading the response, said, "We recognise the concern that this incident will have caused the community in Clapham. We have a clear plan in place should any further disorder take place in the coming days.
That's it, guys. That's it.
And
I
we're in
should be
close contact with
updating you
our
in the
partners and
next
businesses
coming
in the
days.
area.
Have a
Our
nice day
officers will
and happy
continue
Good
to maintain
Friday.
a strong